My name's John McDermott, and I love the dump. It feels quite good to say. It's a magical place. It's full of the unexpected. The sheds there, they're alive with birdsong. A trip to the dump, that's a day out for me. You'll find me there, dropping stuff off, scanning the piles of leftover life for something interesting. And there's always something, there in an industrial estate between the broken bottles on the edge of town. I grew up next to one. We'd sneak in and we'd wander about, we'd pick things up, we'd put them back, sometimes we'd take them home, always imagining the life it used to have. The excitement never left me. 25 years later, I was there and I found a beautiful suitcase, blue 1960s. It said airport on it, and it was from a time when only fancy folk got on planes. I opened it, I could barely see the plush red lining for the cards inside. All these cards were preparation for a future promised. There was an outdated racing car wishing a grandson a happy 16th. Some elegant flowers for a girl, I guess, who's 21. Every occasion catered for, all those occasions missed. Cards just not sent and never received. My allotment shed, that's furnished from the dump. I make my tea on a stove that sits on someone's old Singer sewing table. We pot our plants on a kitchen block hauled from the abyss. I write my planting notes with a pen dedicated to a guy called Wee Robert. I don't know who Wee Robert is, but I'm glad his pen's getting used again. They're all someone else's stories, and it feels like they're getting retold somehow. This story, the one I'm about to tell you, that starts at the dump, in a world where endings and new beginnings meet. It starts, if we're being precise, at Queensley Recycling Centre in the East End of Glasgow.
Me too, thanks very much.
I was unloading old windows round the back bit when I spotted what looked like boxes and boxes of Bibles. Van unloaded, I picked one up, black, leather-bound, pristine. It had an inscription, a dedication inside, a name I couldn't make out, given to someone in 1974. This thing, once loved, once treasured, once provided someone with comfort, now for whatever reason thrown out, bound for landfill in Glasgow's East End. I'm not religious, but it felt important. Whose Bible is it? Or was it? And how did it end up here? This is Retold, Series 1, A Bible Story.
Aye. This is going to be the strangest request, right?
I'm going to start at the beginning, back where I found it.
Is it alright if we stand this side of the shed, just a wee bit out the wind, just to...
I spoke to Paul, the site manager.
So the back bit of the dump, who uses that as opposed to the front end?
General bin motors, housing vehicles and people with vans, private companies.
So when I found a Bible there, it's not really giving me any more clues as to who
Could
might
be
have...
anybody, it could have been a housing place clearing a flat or anything, could be a bin motor that's been in a bin. It's a needle in a haystack type thing, finding a Bible in there.
Detectives in detective novels, they always struggle for clues at this bit. It was a long shot. I should take some time here to describe the Bible, given this is a podcast. It's got a black dimpled leather case, and when you run your hand over it, it feels soft but substantial. In the top left-hand corner, Holy Bible's written in bold gold capital letters. The middle is a crest with some Latin, I assume it's Latin, that I can't make out. And the bottom left-hand corner, it's got a series of faded initials. A clue, maybe. Inside, there's a dedication, stuck down, presented to and by and why. It's stuck on top of another one, intriguingly. The bit I can't get is the name, though. The bit I can, that says it was presented to someone of the Glasgow South Crusader class on occasion of his appointment as co-leader on the 11th of October 1974. There's an instruction to a verse in the bottom left-hand corner, 2 Timothy chapter 2 verse 3. I hope I'm saying that right. I googled it, the New King James Version. You therefore must endure hardship as a good soldier of Jesus Christ. Whew, that's pretty heavy, even for a non-believer. But it just kind of adds to my sense that it would have been wrong to throw this back, especially after I've looked through it, flicked through it. It would have been like me throwing it out. And whether I believe in God or not, I just don't think I could chuck a Bible on the dump. So now I've kept it, let's try and suss that name out. Okay, Sadie, what do you think?
Well, you can tell it's handwriting from quite a while ago. Like, it looks like full of like loops and...
Sadie's my girlfriend. She'll appear throughout as we try and get to the bottom of this. Donald? Is that Donald? Donald something Maxwell Scott?
It's like a really old-fashioned J, right? Donald J.
Is that a J? It's not an F. That's...
Oh, it looks like a cross between a J and an F. It could be F.
Okay.
Donald F or J. It definitely says Maxwell.
This bit
And then it's like
takes
an
quite
R
some
and an
time.
S over
Various
that.
attempts at names,
And
Google searches, clicking through pages, with no luck.
South Tyneside Council, that's not right.
Then Glasgow South Crusader class.
Ronald Stitz. Ronald J. Maxwell Stitz.
That's us, isn't it? Where is it? But that's came up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Ronald Stitz. I think we found our guy. I think he's the Bible owner, isn't he?
The page we're looking at has a name and an email address. So here goes, I guess. Contact us. There we go. Copy and paste. And send. Okay, well that was a really quick answer to that one, because the email bounced straight back. This email address is no longer in use. Back to the drawing board. There was another name on the blog that mentioned Ronnie, Tommy Mackay. I think I've tracked him down. I can't be sure, but I emailed him anyway, more in hope than expectation. I'm about to find out if it is though, because my phone's just flashed up and it's telling me I've got a reply. This is quite exciting. This could kill it or keep it going at this stage, so I'm a bit apprehensive. Dear John, how interesting to hear from you. Yes, I am the right person. Okay, great. And Tommy is as interested in this as I am, and he's given me a contact detail for Ronnie Stitt. Okay, so that should have been contact details, but I think you can forgive me just a little bit of excitement. I have an address, I have a telephone number, we have the guy whose Bible it is, and Tommy, like me, wants to know how so many Bibles landed in the dump. And also, he'd quite like to hear from Ronnie. Right, I'm calmer now. Time to make the phone call. It's ringing. Hi, I was wondering if I could speak to the Reverend Ronald Stitt. Ronald Stitt? Yeah. Yes. Oh, is it? Well, this is going to be a very strange phone call. My name's John McDermott. I'm actually, by day and I opened it and flicked through it. It was a leather-bound Bible, and it's got your name inside it. Turns out that would have been far too easy. The person who answered is not Ronnie Stitt. Despite him initially saying he was, he's in fact Ian Robb. He thought that I was his son and I was playing a joke on him by pretending to be the old minister. This is getting a bit complicated, but basically, this isn't Ronnie Stitt. Yeah, at 284201 I dialed, or have I made a mistake and misdialed that? I did have a wrong number. It turns out when I tried the right number, the number I'd been given for the manse.
The number you have called is not recognised. Please check the number. If you need help, call the operator on 100 from your mobile.
The manse has been shut and sold off. The Church of Scotland, they put two churches in the area together, and the Reverend Ronald Stitt is no longer the minister. But Ian's neighbour might have some answers. Ian's neighbour used to be an elder in the church. Due to family circumstances, now's not a good time to speak to him. Okay, so now I have more questions than answers. I have a minister that's no longer a minister, and a manse that's no longer a manse, but maybe an explanation of how and why the Bibles landed on the dump. What sets a Bible apart from a book? You know, what is the significance of a Bible?
I think that the significance of a Bible is that it's not just a book, it is the book. It's different from every other book.
That is Professor Tommy Mackay. I went to visit him at his house in Cardross. Apologies for the poor sound quality here. My microphone cable, my headphone socket, pretty much everything started playing up just as I got to the house.
It's a book that claims to enshrine and to be the eternal truth of God as revealed ultimately in Jesus Christ. And from that point of view, there is no other book with that status as far as I'm concerned.
That notion of the significance of a Bible is what led me on this quest, even though I'm not religious. I completely understand that was once a prized possession of someone and perhaps still was, and I just wanted to find out what had happened.
Yes, and certainly I've been very surprised to hear of a Bible, especially a knighthood Bible, being found in a dump. I'm sure there must be some good explanation for that. I can't imagine any crusader ever doing that with their hard-earned knighthood Bible, even if they'd come to a point where they no longer held to the beliefs that they might once have had.
I've come here to find out more about Ronnie, the Bible, and the group that gave it to him, the Crusaders, a name which references a pretty controversial chapter in the history of Christianity.
Glasgow South Crusaders was part of the organisation which at that time was called the Crusaders Union. In more recent years it has changed its name to Urban Saints, which is no doubt very modern, but which a lot of us didn't particularly like, but it's changing times.
So, what were they about?
The thinking behind it really was to provide, I suppose, the equivalent of Sunday school for boys who didn't have a Sunday school connection.
As well as the Sunday classes, the group would have sports events throughout the week, and they'd have regular trips away.
For myself and many of my friends and hundreds of people I know, Crusaders at one level and another has essentially been a life-changing experience. I first went when I was a boy of 12 in 1958, and I've been associated with it ever since. It was one of my best friends at school, and I was at the equivalent of the English public schools. I was at Hutcheson's Boys Grammar School, and it was a friend at school who invited me to go. And I went and loved it, became a leader in it. In the course of, I think, about 30 years, I had only missed 6 attendances among the weekly attendances. I was always there.
Ronnie was younger than Tommy, but like Tommy, he would stay with the group for many years as a leader.
What kind of person was Ronnie, the Ronnie you knew? I never asked that, but I guess if I've got his Bible and I'm trying to find him, that would be nice to know.
Well, on the one hand, Ronnie was a very serious, sincere Christian, of the sort of person that you would just expect to be a Church of Scotland minister, and who always knew that he would be that, and I think he always knew that he would be that, and was set on that course from a very early stage. On the other hand, he was full of fun, and sometimes his fun could be quite irritating, I have to say. If he knew that there was something that might be likely to annoy you, he would find some way of exploiting it. And I recall one occasion we were all sleeping in sleeping bags in a dorm, and in the morning when I was still asleep, Ronnie and one or two others thought it would be very funny to come right up to my ear, and he had this whistle and he blew it with all the force of his lungs, and I think, let's just say, it was even worse than when I would be coming back from a Motorhead concert. Maybe I shouldn't have said that in this context, but it'd be even worse than that, because you'd be used to like 2 days when your ears were a bit blocked. For about the next week, I could hardly hear anything in that right ear, and I thought I was going to be permanently deafened.
I wouldn't have had Tommy pegged as a Motorhead fan. There you go. We can't afford to play any Motorhead, so instead, this is a track called Motorhead by Blue Tetras. It's licensed under a Creative Commons license. All the music you've heard is, and I'll give full details of that, all the rest of them, at the end and in the show notes. So, we're learning a wee bit more about Ronnie, a good bit more about the Crusaders. That just leaves the Bible itself.
Is that a Bible that's given out on completion as a teenager? Is that what it is, or what's the...
The Crusader Bible, the Knighthood Bible, was the ultimate prize possession of the boys in the class, because they had to work very hard for it. It was given in the strictest days, and we were a strict class and we stuck to the strict rules probably longer than other people, because eventually children and young people became less diligent about having to do a lot of consistent things in order to gain a reward like a Bible. But the strict system was you had to attend Crusaders not just for 50 Sundays, but for 50 consecutive Sundays without missing a single one. You also had to learn a large amount of scripture by heart.
So these are important Bibles to people who got them. I guess yours is to you and others who received them.
Yes, very important indeed. I still have mine, and I'm sure that all of my friends and Crusaders still make up a very large number of my close, regular friends. They all have their knighthood Bibles, no matter when it was they got them, and they all continue to view them as a prized possession as they did at the time.
I'm glad the Bible's as important as I thought it was. It's made this whole thing seem a little bit less daft. I need to make some headway in finding Ronnie though. I went straight to the Church of Scotland, but they refused to give out any of his details. They said they'd take the Bible and pass it on. I don't think I want it to end like that. I don't know if it's vanity, bloody-mindedness, or the fact that I've been recording all of this, and that just doesn't make for a very good end to this programme. So I'm going to carry on down the unconventional route. That's for another day and another episode though. I should say, as a wee word of caution, I don't think you're meant to take things away from the dump, so if you're planning on doing that, have a wee check with the guys that are on site first. But if they didn't want us to take it, maybe they shouldn't have changed their names to recycling centres. All the music in this episode, that's been licensed under a Creative Commons license. That means the people have made it free for me to use in this podcast, which in turn has allowed me to make this podcast free for you. So I'm going to name them all for you, but you'll find a list of them in the show notes, and it's worth checking out because, you know, these good deeds make the world go round. So, first up, you heard Action by Montplaisir. I hope I'm saying that right. That's the theme music. Then Restless by the Aurora Principle. Sela by Cyrus. That was the wee futuristic dump pursuit music. Isles by Jazzar. That was a bit of high drama in there. Kai Engels, who got top marks for scenery. Also a wee bit of Freedom by Cyrus again. And God Be With You Till We Meet Again by Chris Zabriskie. Before we heard that theme music again, we had Motorhead by Bush Tetras. Thanks for listening. Subscribe to get the next episode automatically, and if you enjoyed it, tell your pals.